U.S. President Donald Trump postpones his visit to China as a result of the Iran war. The Hong Kong government is preparing the city's first 5-year plan. And the government submits paper to LegCo on dedicated legislation for the northern metropolis. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. U.S. President Donald Trump said he wants to postpone his state visit to China by a month owing to the ongoing war in Iran. U.S. Secretary of the Treasury Scott Bessent stressed Trump's decision was not impacted by whether China decides to protect ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz, nor by trade disagreements between the two countries. Timothy Lee tells us more.
U.S. President Donald Trump initially planned to meet with President Xi Jinping during a state visit to China between the 31st of this month and the 2nd of April. But a postponement of 1 month was announced during a press conference at the White House.
I'd love to, but because of the war, I want to be here. I have to be here, I feel. And so we've requested that we delay it a month or so. And
Reuters reported that Trump earlier requested navies of several countries, including China, to take part in the protection of ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz. During an interview with the Financial Times, the U.S. president said he might delay his trip to China if Beijing refuses to participate in his proposed measure. However, U.S. Secretary of the Treasury Scott Bessent said Trump's postponement of the trip has nothing to do with the situation at the Strait of Hormuz, nor trade disagreements between Washington and Beijing.
And I'm saying if the president's visit is postponed, it would have nothing to do with the Chinese making a commitment to the Straits of Hormuz. It would obviously be in their interest to do so, but a postponement would not be as a result of any ask from the president not being met.
In Beijing, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs earlier said diplomatic dialogue between the heads of state of China and the U.S. is of strategic importance, adding that both parties will continue engaging each other via Trump's state visit to China. The ministry also reiterated its call for all parties in the Middle Eastern war to cease military operations. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
Senior officials from China and the U.S. have concluded 2 days of trade talks in Paris. Chinese Representative Li Chenggang says both sides reached preliminary consensus on some issues. Meeting the press on Monday, Vice Commerce Minister Li Chenggang, who's also China's international trade representative in the Paris trade talks, says the discussions between China and the U.S. were in-depth, candid, and constructive. He says preliminary consensus has been made on some issues, with both sides having agreed to continue negotiations and work towards maintaining stable bilateral economic relations. In the Paris talks, the Chinese delegation also made solemn representations to the United States over their Section 301 investigations that target 16 trading partners, including China, on the grounds of so-called overcapacity, as well as probes into 60 economies, including China and Hong Kong, over alleged forced labor. Li stresses Beijing maintains its opposition to unilateral measures, warning such actions could undermine hard-won stability in bilateral trade ties between China and the U.S. China's lead negotiator, Vice Premier He Lifeng, also urged the United States to remove unilateral tariffs and other restrictive measures, stressing China will take necessary actions to defend its legitimate rights. Meanwhile, U.S. lead negotiator Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent also described the meeting as constructive, revealing that discussions encompassed rare earth exports and U.S. agricultural purchases.
They were constructive, and they show the stability in the relationship. It is a continuation of Kuala Lumpur, the Busan agreement that was reached with our leaders to continue our work streams.
Chief Executive John Lee emphasized Hong Kong's role as a safe haven for investors amid the Middle East conflict. Addressing concerns about the city's energy supply, he said the government is stepping up efforts to maintain a steady flow of oil.
The conflicts now in the Middle East actually highlight the strengths of Hong Kong, and also I think will create new opportunities for us, because while development is an important consideration when investment is considered, What is even more important is stability, security, and also what, in the long term, a market will create for the investors. Hong Kong is a showcase to the world that under one country, two systems, Hong Kong will be very safe. In regard to supply of oil, because of the disruption in supply, oil price has gone up. We will, of course, take action to try to mitigate the risks. So what the government is working on is, first of all, ensuring that there will be a stable energy supply. And we also want to ensure that transparency of information relating to supply and energy prices will be enhanced.
Chief Executive John Lee said the SAR government is working at full speed in the drafting of its first 5-year plan for Hong Kong. Public consultation will commence in the fourth quarter. Timothy Lee reports.
Chief Executive John Lee said he is leading the drafting of the first Hong Kong version of the 5-year plan, with the Constitutional and Mainland Affairs Bureau taking the lead, along with participation of policy secretaries and directors.
Our 5-year plan will lay down visions and goals over the next 5 years, and that will give the public a clear picture of what Hong Kong will be like in 5-year time. That means 2030. Our 5-year plan will cover socio-economic development and people's well-being. It will be a dynamic process. People will see continuous improvement, and there will be outcomes.
This as the National People's Congress in Beijing passed the 15th 5-year plan last week, which would also enhance Hong Kong's competitiveness and further integrate the city into the nation's overall development. The CE said, under the leadership of the executive branch, the government will work with the Legislative Council to establish a mechanism for collaborative research and gathering of opinions, with such work estimated to be completed within 3 to 4 months.
The government will take a look at the outcome and go full steam ahead in formulating our 5-year plan. In the fourth quarter this year, we will start consulting the public. And then by the end of the year, we will announce the text of our 5-year plan.
The CE said the nation's development will benefit Hong Kong, and aligning with Beijing's 15th 5-year plan will be a huge opportunity to strengthen and better leverage Hong Kong's advantages and accelerate development. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
Chief Executive John Lee said Wanful Court residents could return to their flats to collect personal belongings by the end of April at the latest. Authorities have not allowed residents from the 7 burnt-out buildings to return to their units since the deadly fire in November. Only Wan Chee Court's households have been able to return home to pick up personal items so far. On Tuesday, the CE said he had requested Chek Wing-hing, Deputy Chief Secretary for Administration, to manage the issue and brief the residents. Meanwhile, the Independent Committee for the Typhoon fire will hold its first hearing on Thursday. The Development Bureau has submitted a paper to the Legislative Council proposing dedicated legislation for the Northern Metropolis. It is aimed at streamlining planning procedures and fast-tracking approval timelines. The proposed dedicated legislation covers 6 specified policy areas, including streamlining town planning procedures. For non-conservation zones, amendments to zoning plans could be shortened from the current 9 months to within 2 months. The proposal would also allow temporary land use for up to 7 years, longer than the current 5-year limit in urban areas, to give businesses greater confidence to invest. The measures will also relax the adoption of innovative construction technologies. With approval from the Director of Buildings, new building methods can be used without going through multiple departmental approval. The government also proposes simplifying the process for construction noise permits in designated areas or projects. There will also be measures to facilitate cross-boundary flow of personnel for designated areas or transport infrastructure projects within the Northern Metropolis, as well as the establishment of statutory corporations for designated zones. The government says the whitelist of cross-boundary personnel is still under formulation, but is expected to include people who travel frequently across the border, such as park-based workers and possibly their children who commute for schooling. The government believes the proposed dedicated legislation will help accelerate the development in the northern metropolis. A public consultation will begin on March 24th. Authorities target to introduce a bill to LegCo for first reading by mid-year and aims for passage within 2026. The Education Bureau has issued class allocation letters to all aided primary schools, revealing that 15 schools will not be allocated any Primary 1 classes in the coming academic year because of low enrollment, meaning they could suspend operations in future. The schools allocated 0 classes include 14 aided schools and 1 government school. Under the current mechanism, if an aided primary school admits fewer than 16 students, it may not be permitted to operate a Primary 1 class. But if these schools are willing to merge with other schools, they will be granted a transition period over 3 school years. And still ahead, Hong Kong Science and Technology Parks Corporation is recruiting over 1,000 positions. The annual Hong Kong International Film and TV Market opens in Wan Chai. And Donald Trump says he will take Cuba as the country suffers from power cut again. Welcome back. The Hong Kong Science and Technology Parks held a career fair today. The event offered more than 1,000 job vacancies in the innovation and technology sector. Mimosing reports.
Themed under Artificial Intelligence Plus, the career fair features 50 company booths from 4 sectors: life and health technology, AI and data, advanced manufacturing and green technology. Many visitors were university students and graduates. The Hong Kong Science and Technology Park said the city and local companies have sufficient attractiveness to lure INT talent amid the global competitiveness within the industry.
We have devoted a lot of resources from different stakeholders in the innovation and technology development. For that matter, I'm quite confident that talents will come to Hong Kong and stay for different aspects. Hong Kong has been an international city, and for all the years, we developed tremendously in financial services, logistics, property, etc. So they've got many opportunities here in Hong Kong.
A new element of the fair is the Career Hack and Match, an interactive problem-solving workshop between candidates and leaders of 20 startups companies. Divided into small groups, leaders can take the discussion as an opportunity to assess each candidate's ability. The process is as competitive for the recruiters as it is for the candidates.
When we are hiring somebody else, it's not only we hire them, but they also want to join us.
Candidates of the Career Hack and Match requires 2 weeks of pre-registration. Looking ahead, the Science Park said they will continue to host related AI recruitment activities. Memos 9, TVB News.
The 4-day Hong Kong International Film and TV Market has kicked off at Wan Chai's Convention and Exhibition Center. The annual fair, also called Film Art, aims to promote Hong Kong as a regional hub for film distribution and production, TV programs, and entertainment-related products and services in the Asia-Pacific. More than 790 exhibitors from 38 countries and regions attended the fair this year, including first-timers Belgium and Poland. Local exhibitors such as TVB will announce their upcoming plans and productions at the event. A couple charged with child neglect after allegedly bringing their son to watch waves in Taiwan when Super Typhoon Ragasa hit the city last year appeared at Eastern Magistrates Court today. The couple aged 40 and 38 were granted bail. The case is adjourned until May 12th. On the day of the incident, a large wave swept the mother and the 5-year-old son into the sea. The father jumped into the sea trying to rescue the two. In the end, a sampan boat operator rescued the 3 of them. Their daughter was left on the shore. Police arrested the parents in January. U.S. President Donald Trump said he will soon have the honor of taking Cuba. This as the energy and economic crisis on the island deepens as its power grid continues to crumble. Tracy Furness has more.
Officials in Cuba reported an island-wide blackout on Monday in the country of some 11 million people. The Ministry of Energy and Mines reported a complete disconnection of the country's electrical system. This Havana resident said since last night it has been 24 hours without electricity. This man said this is an abuse. It will be 2 or 3 days without electricity. Families live by candlelight at night and with doors open to stay cool. This woman said, I don't have a rechargeable fan, so I have to leave the doors open. This is the third major blackout in Cuba over the past 4 months. This, as US President Donald Trump said, he believes he will soon have the honor of taking Cuba.
I think Cuba's the end. You know, all my life I've been hearing about the United States and Cuba. When will the United States do it? I do believe I'll be having the honor of taking Cuba. That'd be good. That's a big honor.
Taking Cuba.
Taking Cuba in some form, yeah. Taking Cuba. I mean, whether I free it, take it, I think I could do anything I want with it.
Tracy Furness, TVB News.
And that's the news. Thank you for watching.